Hi everyone, and welcome back. We're with City Manager Mike Daly, City of Jackson. How you doing, Mike? Good
Great,
to see you again.
Nice to see you.
And, a lot of people could say, that Mike Daly guy, he's on there a lot. Well, a lot happens in Jackson.
Yeah.
And, we get a lot of information your way, and we can't always
great
be
to be
down
here
there
to
at
be able
meetings.
to inform people what's going on too.
Right. And yesterday you had you said you went to 11 o'clock
Yeah,
last night
city
at the
council
meeting.
kind of unusual as of late. Our meetings have been ending before 8 o'clock, but last night went till just short of 11.
Okay, so you had some interesting items, so we'll
There
get
were.
around to those, but you had something that really swell happen.
Yeah, we did.
Tell us about the
Start of
check you received.
Start of the meeting, we had a ceremonial item where we received a check from the Native Sons of the Golden West, and this was both a statewide organization and the local Excelsior Parlor. And combined, they contributed $7,000 to the Kennedy Tailing Wheels Preservation Project. $5,000 from the statewide organization and $2,000 from the Excelsior Parlor. So that's a big help. We got the big grant that's funding the construction that's already started. The project's underway, and in fact, the framework for the building will be going up this weekend.
Okay,
And,
so that's really good.
It was
and also
great.
it shows their interest in preserving early history here.
It's a big part of California history overall, so I think it's very appropriate that they opted to participate, and certainly we're still looking for more. If people
I'm
are
not sure if you shop at the market costs less, but by the meat department there, it's got.
the
I
big
think
mural.
that has one of the best murals in
It's
Amador
awesome. It's
County,
beautiful.
right there, and you can see. Almost probably in scale. I'm sure it's compressing it,
Yeah.
but where Rand Huggett had, it's got the Kennedy and the tailing wheels working and going all the way over
It's
to
an amazing piece of work.
It really is. So, in fact, I want to go by.
And he's done a lot of work with us on the updated murals and kiosk information that's going to be part of that project too. So it's going to be great.
Rand Huggett, what an
Yeah.
asset he is to us. And,
Big time.
And once again, you want to find out a little history or see how that whole thing worked. It's really easy to see it right there above the hamburger. Okay, now.
Meanwhile,
Yeah, let's get back because you had some I don't want to say serious things, but some pretty important things. And
Yeah.
basically, it's probably got to do with the circulation, the traffic circulation.
traffic
elements
circulation,
all that.
and an item, the first item we talked about was a potential signal at the intersection of Sutter Street and Highway 4988 in front of the Scout Hut.
Okay.
Across from Dieter Park and the Sutter Street Shopping Center where True Value Hardware is.
So we might have another signal go in there.
Exactly. They have funding from a safety grant that they obtained, Caltrans that is, and they're in the planning phases right now. So they wanted to talk to the city about the exact location of the intersection because we have the future Sutter Street Extension project that's going to come down to that area where we had planned to put an intersection, a signalized intersection.
Okay.
And then there's also whether or not to have access on the other side of the highway where the Scout Hut and that little exit where the stone pillars
Let's
are right now.
talk more about that when we come back because that is a location where a lot of school kids come by as well.
It is indeed.
So it might be very good. We're going to find out a little bit more, but first we're going to take our break and then we'll be back with City Manager Mike Daly. Stay with us right here on TSPN.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. And I'm happily once again with Mike Daly. Mike, we were talking about the light, and that's a light by the
Right.
Scout Hut. That's
Correct.
by the swimming pool, Jackson Park.
A lot of
there, and-
pedestrians, yeah.
Right, and that's a good place as well. To me, it would is because the school. That's where the kids. A lot of
Right.
kids come on out, and we've got a great addition to with those lights.
The in-ground warning lights, yeah.
But nonetheless, that's a fairly dangerous spot.
It's a tough spot. Yeah, people coming down the hill, like you were saying a minute ago, they're not really paying attention. There are a lot of distractions in the area. That's why we've had a crossing guard out there
Right.
when school gets out. So, because a lot of kids do tend to go from the school over to the library area or into the park, and that's been real.
Well, they live on this side of the street.
Yeah.
Of 88. So that seems like probably a good place, and it might be a place to be able to help break up traffic through Jackson as well, as two lights can work better together.
Right. So it looks like Caltrans is looking at construction actually next summer which is pretty quick on the Caltrans planning schedule, the way they do things. But, they've asked for our input for location, driveways, all sorts of different things. So we'll be meeting with them in the near future.
Okay, so this is because you're looking at once again, the circulation element in Jackson.
Right.
I wanted to, I had talked to you a little bit yesterday, and you informed me that the roundabout, or the concept of the roundabout has kind of been dropped by the city council?
That's right, yeah. The council did not, wasn't willing to go with the concept of the roundabout yet on the highways, as the Planning Commission had recommended.
Right.
And so the last revision of the plan had one going in at the intersection of Mission Boulevard and Highway 88.
Right, that's by Sutter Amateur Hospital.
Right. And then that one was rejected by the council. So in the future, when traffic warrants meet the thresholds, then that would be a signalized intersection rather than a roundabout.
Okay, so that's what's going to happen. So that's an element that's also going into the circulation
Correct,
element.
in the plan, the whole plan, and the
Item.
whole plan and the financing aspect of that was reviewed on the agenda last night. That was another pretty significant discussion, and there was a lot of detail about the different types of monies that go into the plan, the regional fees, the local fees, the developer fees, other state and all the state money that's available from time to time.
Right. So in a way, that signal would cost more money than the roundabout.
Right.
It's going to bring us on up to the proposed sphere of influence amendment, and I don't want to bring that up like that. Oh, you're doing that because you need more money. Everybody needs more money, but when the sphere of influence changes. We had a map, but we didn't get it available, or maybe Alan got it too. Tell us where the sphere of influence Jackson's looking to move it to.
Yeah, there are a couple of things. We submitted an application to LAFCO, I think in 2009, to amend our sphere of influence. And LAFCO had some concerns about it in a couple areas, and so it wasn't approved at the time. And following that, the LAFCO executive director, Roseanne Chamberlain, has been updating the LAFCO maps and looking at things, and they have to go through this occasionally, and proposed this change that the council reviewed last night. It was reviewed by the Planning Commission the previous Monday, and then the City Council last night, as part of the regular review process that LAFCO is required to do to keep all the maps current and up to date based on the services that are being provided by each of the agencies.
Okay, now I'd like to tell the viewers that at last night's meeting, you couldn't participate.
Right, yeah.
And also
Connie Gonzalez.
Yeah, Connie, because you own property close by or something?
I own property right on the other side of the city limit line from where the sphere was proposed to be changing, and then Connie actually owns property in one of the existing sphere areas where it's proposed to take the sphere of influence off of that area. So there were changes in both directions. The proposal from LAFCO was to remove the sphere of influence in some areas where it didn't seem as logical or likely the development would occur, and to add sphere of influence area where it is more likely and logical that development
Can I ask,
would occur.
is the circulation element with Jackson taken into consideration? Remember the concept of maybe the bypass that was going across, and then it's going to hook up outside of basically Jackson proper now, but in that area and going out into the countryside there?
The old bypass concept that was talked about in a few workshops back around 2008, those options are no longer being considered. They were just too costly and not very well received by the public.
But are they okay? So I guess if they're not going to be there, then they're drift away. They're not something on the event horizon somewhere. Then
the circulation improvement plan that we've been looking at for the past 6 months has more details about the other options that are being looked at to improve local circulation rather than the bypass. So, a couple of the projects that were looked at in that area where we're looking at the sphere include an extension of Wicklow Way to hook up with Stony Creek Road, which then it comes into Jackson, and other improvements at Sutter Street, and then a whole host of others.
Which is another way to get around in Jackson.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's not a bypass, but there are other ways, alternate routes.
Right.
Okay. All right. Now, I asked you earlier, maybe we can explain that. So you weren't able to sit in because, why?
Because I own property where I live.
No, I kind of
but
got it because you can't be in that
the
part of the...
FPPC, the Fair Practices Political Commission, sets parameters for where both either elected officials who are making the decisions or those of us that just prepare the information that goes to them can participate in the process if you might have a financial interest in what occurs.
Okay, but you can't talk to us about what went on.
I can talk to you about what went on, sure.
Okay, because that's not part of the decision-making process.
No, I wasn't there, but I did get a little summary from our city planner this morning about the discussion and what happened. So the council agreed with the map, except for one area, which is the southern area of the sphere of influence, where Jackson Hills subdivision had been proposed at one point in time, and there are still some thoughts that might occur. So they opted to keep that area, or recommend that area be kept within the city's sphere of influence. But the other two areas, one was to the east of the city, and the other one was north up along Jackson Gate Road. Those, the council agreed that those could be removed from the city's sphere of influence.
Okay. I want to ask you something, and this, you can tell me, or not.
Yeah.
Upcountry, we have the Payless Market, and and what's going on there. Now, I don't want to describe kind of what's going on there. I think everybody knows it, but I've heard in the arguments that they'd like to get things built up there and do things like that, but the moratorium and things like that is keeping them from that happening. But maybe you can speak a little bit of, it seemed to me when we were discussing the general plan and that, things couldn't happen up there because there's not enough infrastructure, so therefore the building of things and new businesses that come in almost need to be in the Jackson, Martell, Sutter Creek area where we have infrastructure.
Okay.
Is that a driving force in this whole
argument? It is one of the key things when you're looking at the sphere of influence, is making sure that you have the public services available to support human population in an area, whether it's utilities for water and sewer, or fire and police, or parks, or schools, or whatever it might be. Those are the things that you want to look at when you're doing things, especially when you're looking at trying to avoid sprawl and more infill between areas and that kind of thing.
Now, they have population up there. That's not the problem with up there. The problem up there is it doesn't seem like they have any place where
concentration
services. A concentration to where they would almost say, well, you have enough building mass to attract more building mass, if I'm kind of using physics terms there. But
you've got an economy of scale when you're providing a lot of different things, and if it's not all in one area, or if you have different systems that serve it that are more spread out, it just is more costly to operate.
Okay, Mike, once again, thanks for coming by
and
sharing all the information, and we're going to be back right after this break. Stay with us on TSPN's News.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.